Not being racist. Here we go. That's
what did I say?
Hi everybody.
Hey,
what's going on? All right, this is just for Facebook Live. We're not. We're about to start up here. So
where is it on Facebook Live, man?
It is. It's on my. Go to my profile. You'll see it, and then you can share it.
I'll share it.
Just real quick, I'm gonna tilt your camera down just a little more so I can see you guys.
Oh, I just got a notification.
It's exciting.
Oh yeah, I see us. Okay.
What's the coral sword?
Yeah, Coral Sword is for anybody who doesn't know is the where the coffee, comics, and gaming cafe that I'm partnering with in Houston, Texas. All right, so let me start this. Check. All right. Hey, yeah, I'll let you QB this. So yeah, I think you introduce the podcast, my friend. Introduce yourself. We'll introduce each other, and then away we go. So, actually, what I like to do is I just
wait.
like
I only see you. Oh, there I am. What the fuck? Why am I like? I'm moving my chair, but I'm not moving. What's going on there? Holy cow! That's so weird.
Yeah, try not to refer to the Facebook Live too much because other people can't see it, Rob. But you can refer to people asking questions.
Can I be a monkey and throw poo at the camera?
You are a monkey.
Yeah, then it's okay.
This is how we're starting.
We have 3 simple rules here at the Shared Universe Podcast Studio, Rob.
Poo.
Don't break anything.
Right.
Don't steal anything. Do not throw feces. So, yeah. And Rob, is your audio up? Turn your audio down just so it doesn't pick up on the mics.
My audio?
I hear somebody.
Your
Yeah,
iPad.
that's you.
Oh, my iPad?
Old man. Yeah, turn the audio down.
Oh yeah. Well, I can hear an echo. Somebody's audio's up.
Yeah, it's Rob. I know
Rob's
it's
me.
yeah,
Rob.
I know it's Rob.
Causing problems already.
Yeah.
Hold.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Shared Universe Podcast Studio. I am here with Evildoers Beware Podcast, and we are quarterbacked here by Ryan Scott Weber.
Yes, that's me.
And it's actually Evildoers Beware.
Yes.
Oh, do we have to say it like that?
Is that how you want to say it?
Your voice is scary enough already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the quarterback here, the evil master that
I'm evil.
all the evildoers beware have to beware of. It's Mr. Ryan Scott Weber here.
Thank you, Ming.
Yes. Can you list all your many credits, your wide resume?
Well, I'm a filmmaker and a con creator and just a creative guy in general, really. I've done 4 feature films, 10 short films. I've been in a band.
What band?
Crash Romeo.
Crash Romeo. I love those guys.
Played for a long time with them, and we did U.S. tours, been to England, back, and it was a lot of fun. I just like to stay creative, and I own Weber Pictures Company, and I do the horror con with Rob over here.
All right, and sitting to your left, the lovely, the amazing. Please introduce yourself.
I want
friend.
somebody to introduce me. Ryan, go ahead.
It's Kristen Accardi.
Oh gosh, with that voice and everything. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have a wide resume that you would like to list?
A wide resume.
Yeah.
I won't.
Just talk yourself
up.
up. Just talk yourself up. I know you're a baller, but no, many people listening to this
Just a
may
little
not
bit.
know that you're a baller.
No, I don't like to talk myself up. I am a radio
You have
producer,
to.
though.
You have to
so
do it now.
I guess that's what it is. Yeah, I'm a radio producer. I used to produce a morning show for CBS Radio in New York City called Shaboy in the Morning. And that was on 92.3. And now I am the morning show producer at New Jersey 101.5.
That's cool. And
That is it.
Are you on air at all? You have a very good radio voice.
Thank you.
You
Yes,
speak very clearly.
I was on air. Thank you.
You were on today, right?
I was on today.
should
Yes,
be on
I do
more.
speak. Thanks, guys. Wow, this is going great so far. I love this. Let's talk more about me, please.
I know. Why are you? Do you tend to shy away from the microphone? Is that you?
I'm more of a behind the scenes in my day job.
That's how I
so
started
that's,
out. I used to just sit behind a computer with Kevin and all his stuff, and then I don't know how it happened. It threw me out in front of it.
Yeah.
It's been working out so far, I guess. But
Oh.
Yeah, you could
great.
say that.
yeah, well, I know this is not a radio station setup, although I've been to radio stations, and what actually surprised me was how bare bones it looked. The plywood tables, the mess. It was very messy.
It's kind of true.
Cramped quarters. Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, because people in the public eye don't have to see it. It's just like a few people
Right.
in a studio, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like,
Yeah, good point. And sitting to your left,
You can introduce yourself.
a
My
man
left, sitting to my left.
that needs no introduction.
It's me. Come out of the basement. That's right. living in the dungeons, and professional comic book collector, producer of AMC's Comic Book Men.
Keep going. I know you have a wide resume. I know you love to talk about yourself.
Show producer, con producer with Ryan Scott Weber, New Jersey Comic Con with New Jersey Horror Con, which will be the weekend of March 3rd through the 4th and 5th.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Coffee drinker. I don't know. Self-professed knower of all things that nobody wants to care about. And on and on and on.
World-renowned toy collector.
World-renowned toy collector. That's freaking
and
crazy.
You've come up with your own
pop culturist.
Your own job title.
The pop culturist, which I actually came up with a definition. It's actually a historical popular culture sociologist. It's a pop culturist.
Have you trademarked that?
Yes.
Okay, that's trademarked. No one else can
trademarked Rob Bruce too.
No one else can call themselves a pop culturist.
Except for those 3 people in Australia who had an S. They are the pop culturists.
All right, are you going to go after them?
No. We're friends.
All right, so we'll get the promotion out of the way. You guys throw a very successful horror and film festival here called the NJ Horror and Film Fest.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had 2 of them very successful so far.
Unbelievable. And it's not us; it's the fans that come out to see the guests and the stars and our vendors, and it's just we care. I think that's really right.
Yeah,
I mean that's really what it boils down to.
Kristen is also part of our staff as well as a bunch of other staff members that are great and do their job really well. And
yeah, we're very fortunate. We have everybody's professional, and they're just dialed in. We work as a family. We started it off with really just an idea, and then came up with like all the other things, funding and this, that, and the other thing after we had the idea. So it's really grown organically, and we're thankful for the people that come out in March, please.
What are the dates again, Rob?
2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2018.
And where do we find more information?
At NewJerseyHorrorCon.com. NewJerseyHorrorCon.com, which is amazing. And I got to give a big shout out to Ryan that nobody had that website. It just always blows me away. They didn't have NewJerseyHorrorCon.com because we own both.
Right. NJHorrorCon.com too. Yeah.
It's just crazy that people don't think, but we had an idea and we've sort of moved it forward. Our love of all things horror, pop culture, crossover into comics, and obviously music. We like to bring in at least one musical celebrity. Last time was Marky Ramone, Marky Bell, who played on Dust in the 70s, and is a drummer in Richard Hell and the Voidoids' Blank Generation, which is a quintessential late 70s New York City punk rock record. If nobody's ever heard it, pick it up and listen to it. And the Ramones, of course.
Who are some of the horror icons you've had at your show so far?
Well, we had John Waters at our first show, and Matthew Lillard, which are both amazing. Tracy Lords.
Tracy Lords, by far the most unexpected human being I've ever met.
Meaning?
Because every time you hear her, there's always some sort of condensation that she's this, that, and the other thing. And the reality is she's just like the girl next door, and was really like just a sweetheart. And
she remembered all her names,
right? And she still likes the stuff I put up on Instagram at Pop Culturism.
Yeah. She's very supportive.
Does she have any horror credits per se?
Horror Needs Women. Yeah, kind of like a horror movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's really known for the John Waters movies. That's why we had her with Matthew and John, and that was just a great, group of people to have to kick it off. Yeah. She's in a bunch of John's movies, I believe.
But she's definitely got some horror muscles. You have to at least be in one horror type movie or something, like Marky Ramone, drummer on Pet Sematary. Yeah. So there's always a crossover. We try to stay true to the horror genre. Sure, a lot of the people like Sean Astin came in. Obviously, he does straight movies, but he did Goonies. It's kind of a horror film.
He was in Cabin Fever 3. He was in Cabin Fever 3. That was his credit.
Well, I mean, now Stranger Things 2 is definitely in the horror genre.
Yeah. Yes. Stranger Things. Ironically, he really blew up like 2 weeks after the show. He was like huge all of a sudden because he gets killed in Stranger Things. I'm sorry.
Spoiler
give that
alert.
away.
Oh, dude. All right. Well, it came out
Bob
a month
Newby.
ago.
You never know.
Bob Newby superhero.
I loved him.
I'm so Team Bob still. I don't care. They need to bring him back.
Yeah, they're going to bring him back.
I don't think he's really dead.
I don't think he's dead.
I think it was a
I
dummy.
think it's just a dream.
Well, guys, I don't know about that. Did you see it? Really?
It was pretty
Pretty
gruesome.
little small parts, right?
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great death scene, actually.
Does he have a small part now in Stranger Things?
No.
He got torn to shreds.
Yeah.
Small parts.
Small parts.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
This is the kind of humor you're going to expect from Rob Bruce. So if you want to just tune him out,
It's called no humor.
if you want to tune him out, that is just fine. That's
Ming,
just
we
fine.
had you too at the first show and the second show.
And came in the second time?
You came by for just to hang out second time and loved it, right? You had a good time?
I did. Had a very nice conversation with Sean Astin. Who,
Yeah.
what I noticed, I'm not in the horror genre, so I don't get to do a lot of horror conventions. But what I've noticed is most of the guests at horror conventions are very personable. They will stop and talk to you for 5 minutes. They really embrace their roles.
But
Yeah.
That they've-
in theory, we can argue that because in episode 2 or season 2 of Comic Book Men, we did like that Outer Limits sort of.
Oh, you mean where you
episode.
dressed up like the Jersey Devil
Yeah,
and
and you
scared the
did-
crap out of me?
Who'd you dress up as?
I was
gotta
just
see that.
myself. Well, Rob dressed up in this Jersey Devil getup. If you haven't seen his episode in season 2 of Comic Man,
I'm
the hype-
literally going to YouTube this.
Where-
right now.
I
you
think
should
it's
show
the high
Kristen.
point of my life. 'cause
where
I can
we
actually
talk
say
about
it.
the Jersey Devil, which is a cryptid,
Yeah, which I've seen.
a monster in the state of New Jersey, and we go out on a hunt. Unbeknownst to me, they got Rob Bruce to dress up like the Jersey Devil and jump out and scare the crap out of me.
It doesn't even look like you. It really
Now,
doesn't.
if you Google a photo of Rob Bruce, or maybe you can get a glance of him here on Facebook Live, you can see that he doesn't need the costume to
Thank
scare
you.
anybody.
Thank you.
If you're walking in the woods at 3 a.m, he jumps out at you with that hair and
Hair's
that-
gone, by the way.
that weird face and whatever he was wearing that
Face is the
day.
face my mother gave me.
That's enough to turn an Asian man
Yeah,
white.
There you go.
And I shit my pants. So.
But I'm trying to like dial you into the horror genre because that's kind of what's like a horror scene for
Yeah.
sure, right? So
Yeah.
I always look at like that being like playing a monster on AMC.
Sure. Yeah. Is there anyone? Have you booked anyone for this future convention?
Yeah, we
that you
have a
want to
bunch of
announce?
people for coming up for the March show. We've announced a bunch, maybe like 12 now. I think we've announced.
Only? I thought it was like 17 or something.
Oh, it could be-
Wow.
Well, we have Amelia Kincaid coming back from Night of the Demons. We have Derek Mears coming, who played Jason in Friday the 13th.
Yes.
We have Daniel Harris coming, who is the ultimate Scream Queen, who is in Halloween 4 and 5 and the new Rob Zombie Halloween movies, both of them. Andrew Divoff, who played the Wishmaster.
Yeah.
PJ Souls is coming from the original Halloween.
And Rock and Roll High School.
Oh, and also Tammy Loren from Wishmaster. We announced Amanda Beers from Married with Children and Fright Night,
Yes.
who's a great person, and she's also a director as well. Vernon Wells, who's the ultimate bad guy in a lot of movies. He's kind of sci-fi more than horror.
Plays in Commando.
Commando, Weird Science.
If you don't remember him, he's the guy in the fishnet shirt.
Yeah, like a metal. He was always very scary with the mustache.
Metal.
We have John Russo too from Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
He wrote the original Night of the Living Dead. Caroline Williams, who's in Leprechaun 3. She's in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
It's a pretty good list, my
Yeah.
friend.
Rachel True from The Craft.
That's who I'm excited about. I love
Rachel
the
True.
craft.
Yeah, me too.
Joyce Heiser and Tony Hudson from Just One of the Guys, that's kind of a rare two
Appearance?
guests to have. Yeah.
Yeah, after the first two shows, the success of the first two shows, did you find that more people were calling you back when you put in requests
Yes.
for booking guests?
We get
Just-
a lot of requests.
And did you get anybody calling you and soliciting? It's like, hey,
Yes.
I heard you guys had a great
Yes.
show,
Yeah.
or a couple great shows. We want in on this.
There's almost so many that I wish I could fit them all in
Sure.
each show, but I have to say no. We have to say no to a lot of people, unfortunately. But we usually have them for the next show or the one after that.
Okay.
We're going to announce 2 guests on the show, I think, today. So
There you go.
that
Oh, exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Exclusive.
All right.
Yeah.
Should I do it now or wait?
No,
Wait a little bit.
wait.
Ooh.
Yeah, wait till the end so people hang out to the end.
You know what's hilarious? We started this and we were like, okay, we're going to do a podcast. Our first guest is going to be Ming from Comic Book Men, and Ming is interviewing us. That's what this
Well,
has
I've
become.
I think Ming
I've-
should
so
be
thank you,
in our
Ming.
show.
I've done this before.
Yeah.
My job and my job here as one of the co-owners of a Shared Universe podcast studio, brought to you by Blue Juice Comics,
Yeah,
Juice is great.
is to you know, when you start on a journey, you know, you need like Gandalf to tell you the rules and what direction to go in. And then after you go, you know, Gandalf's not there all the time anymore, so
Right.
you know, he'll pop up here and there to help
you're
you.
a Gandalf.
Fighting the bullrog.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you letting us use the studio for our podcast,
absolutely.
and it's a great place. And congratulations.
The space is open to anybody.
I think
who
your
wants to
camera
podcast.
froze.
And
Which
Rob,
one?
I think your iPad sucks.
Yeah,
Rob.
I think it's your
I
iPad.
think your iPad sucks.
I'm watching.
yeah.
But I wanted to talk to you
Still
about
good.
horror. Where did your love of horror start? Were you one of those kids whose mom took them to see horror movies at 4 a.m. or 4 years old at a young age? Is this how did you get into horror? Me personally, I grew up in a sheltered household. Did not see my first real horror movie until I was like 14, and it still scares me. I like the genre, but I know guys like you and Rob and the people I see at the NJ Horror kind of film fest are like really into it. Guys like Brian Johnson are like encyclopedias on every aspect of every horror movie. I want to know where that comes from.
Well, for me personally, you know, I grew up in the late 70s, 60s, 70s, black and white. So every Saturday, you'd have Chiller Theater, the six-fingered guy coming out of the swamp. And that was always like my brother and my sister and I's go-to Saturday afternoon, rainy day, watching Frankenstein and The Mummy and all the early Universal monster movies. And then once we got color, I figured out the TVs were broken because they were all black and white. But beyond that, I got to grow up in Red Bank, New Jersey. Local theater was the Carlton, which is now the Count Basie Theater. And I used to go on date nights with one girl in high school. We went to go see Tales from the Crypt, and all I remember her is digging her nails into my arm. She was so terrified, and I was locked in. That was it. So, you know, going back to like my teen years, obviously, you know, being a little bit older, I went to a lot of comic cons when I was a kid, 13, 14, 15 years old. And horror has always been a part of my life. And then I got really the giant monster bug. I collect giant monster, Godzilla, Gamera, kaiju figures, Japanese. And it's just, you know, I think at some point you commit yourself. Although I'm not a huge slasher, I'm more into like the silly smog monster movies or the psychological thrillers like Birds. What about you, Ryan? How about you, Kristen?
Oh,
you go
me,
first.
my turn.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I wasn't allowed to watch any of that stuff when I was younger, which is how I got into it. So it was this kid that I went to school with who had all of the movies on VHS, Silence of the Lambs, all those movies. And we'd have to pay him $1, and he would let us borrow it for the night. Yeah.
Was it on VHS?
VHS, yeah. Yeah, so I brought home
incredible.
Silence of the Lambs, and I was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm watching it in my room. My mom comes in, and I'm like 11 at the time.
She comes in, there's a naked dude like
I got in
standing
trouble.
like this,
Yeah,
and
pretty
the
much, yeah.
Buffalo, she's seen Buffalo Bill.
But yeah, I got in trouble, and that started my love for horror. My mother, because she's pretty scary too. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to do it, so
So you were rebelling.
I was.
Okay.
I was.
Mine was the complete opposite. My parents didn't care what I did, and I was able to watch anything anytime. I used to just go down to the video store, and I was able to get any movie I wanted. And I just loved horror movies because of the creativity that was put into them. You can really have all kinds of genres in a horror film, and that's what I think it appealed to me.
Do you think, like you mentioned video store, do you think there's people in the audience that have no idea what that is?
Probably.
There are a couple of them out there.
So basically, before DVDs and streaming, you could actually get in your bike and ride 3 blocks and rent a movie.
Yep, a
VHS tape. And
And
the best thing about renting movies were late charges.
Yeah.
If you kept it long
true.
enough, you got to buy the VHS tape, which was usually about $60, $70.
Well, I actually ended up working at a video store for a long time.
Be Kind Rewind.
It was called Village Video in my town, and I actually ended up becoming the manager of it for a little bit. But I liked the VHS tapes that had the cool covers, and all the horror movies had the cool covers. So that's why I started watching them. Really, is like, oh wow, look at that cover, that's so cool. I want to see, I got to see what this is about, and like Leprechaun and that. People Under the Stairs, and had all those really cool covers. So
It's true. A lot of the best covers were the worst movies.
Yeah. Return of the Living Dead 3, I think, had that girl on it with
the mohawk.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. A lot of them were painted.
Right.
Yeah.
Scarier.
High art, really.
Think of like the Nightmare on Elm Street poster.
Yeah.
The first one is painted with the the glove coming out of the wall.
Yeah, that's good shit, dude. Actually,
I love the visual aspect of the covers and I just like I gotta see.
It's kind of like LPs. LPs were the same way. They would embellish these great images and you listen to the record. Best example is Molly Hatchet. It's got the Frazetta Death Dealer on the cover, and you open it up, and it's like some hard Southern rock band. It's like, what the fuck?
I think that's why it's not a horror movie, but I love Back to the Future. It's like my favorite film. So I think that's why, because the cover is awesome.
That's Drew Struzan, I think.
It is a Drew
Struzan.
Yes.
Is awesome. I've actually talked to Drew a few times.
Well, Blue Juice Films, which is one of the sponsors of Shared Universe, Tom Mum actually produced the documentary on Drew Struzan.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first horror movie?
Ooh. Good question.
Well, go ahead, Rob. Question to
I
the
was
floor.
8 years old. It's not quite a crossover piece. Sci-fi horror. Barbarella. Really fucked my head up.
That's not really a horror movie.
Well, it is. When you ever see Barbarella?
I did.
There's a scene where they got the dolls and the rocket ships, and the dolls start walking towards Barbarella, and then their mouths open up and start chomping. Watch that, kids.
I watched Barbarella. I didn't need to get past the first 3 minutes.
When she's stripping in space.
Yeah. Thank you, Jane Fonda.
Thank you, Jane Fonda.
It might have been Nightmare on Elm Street.
Which is such a great first movie to get into. It's so well done, and it presents such a great character. Bar none, my favorite horror movie.
Oh yeah,
of
it's
all
a great
time.
series too. I think number 3 is the Dream Child one. That one's really great.
What about Altered States? I remember watching that in the theater, and it sort of lost its. I don't know what.
Doesn't hold up.
Doesn't hold up.
Okay.
Right. But when it first came out, it was crazy. It's a crazy movie.
How old were you when you saw Nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh, I don't know. I was young. I was definitely young. I know I was 14 years old when I actually went with my dad to see Pulp Fiction, which is not a 14-year-old.
No,
movie. It makes you really young.
But as a young cinephile,
oh yeah, it changed my life.
Tarantino,
yeah.
It you see that movie, it's like, oh man, this guy started out in a video store, much like you later on went to do, and became Quentin Tarantino.
Yep.
Am I the only one that doesn't like any of his movies?
Oh,
I love I love the first couple. I think they're great. Reservoir Dogs is amazing, but Pulp Fiction, just the way that he made that movie, it just opened up my eyes for filmmaking too. Because I think it was 1994 is when it came out, and that's when I was 14. And I went to the theater, and I just couldn't believe it. I'm like,
fucking old.
It was cool. It was just something totally different that I've never seen before.
Yeah, your very first project, short, whatever. What was the subject? Was it a horror? Was it in the horror genre?
No, it was more of a comedy.
Okay,
when short, because then I was in high school and I really didn't know much about how to make a movie, so I made something simple. And I think a comedy is kind of easy to make. So it was later on I started to make maybe 2010. I think is really when I made my first horror movie, which is only 7 years ago. So, but I made about 10 short films, all comedies, leading up to that.
It's funny because I went and saw my father was a devotee of Mel Brooks, and so we went and saw Young Frankenstein, which is kind of like a horror movie. But I must have been 13, so it really makes me really fucking old. Well, maybe I was 15.
Well, Mel Brooks is amazing.
Yeah.
He's definitely my idol, and I got to meet him twice.
We actually spent 3 months trying to get him to come to our convention.
Yeah, what's your first horror movie when you decided to take it? What's it called, first of all?
My first movie was called Mary Horror.
It's a trilogy.
It was a trilogy.
Yeah.
There was a sequel, Sheriff Tom vs. the Zombies, and the third one was called Witch's Blood.
Mary Horror.
And these are all feature-length?
Feature-length films. The first movie we made for $5,000.
Wow!
The second one was for 10, I think, or maybe 15, and then the third one, I just put my own money in to finish the trilogy.
And what about your new movie?
That's the best one.
The new one that's coming out is called Pretty Fine Things,
which will be available at.
It's Wild Eye Releasing's putting it out.
Okay,
and it's going to be out in February.
And where can you find that?
I think I'm not really
sure. A little store called Walmart's.
Probably Walmart, Best Buy, and I know Amazon will have it and everything. So it's pretty exciting to go from that first $5,000 movie to And honestly, Pretty Fine Things was only about 20 to 30.
Right. And how much of that's in post? A lot of that's in post, right? I would think.
Yeah,
Probably
and a lot of
most
it, we spent a lot on equipment to make it look really good and sound good, and we got Lynn Lowry to come and be in it, and Andrew Divoff has a small part. So to get all that together, it really costs. The cost gets pulled. The money is gone. But I just have to be creative and do something with my crazy mind that has all these ideas. So I'm actually writing another movie too. So I'm going to start shooting that next year.
All right, so you constantly got projects going on.
Oh yeah.
What did you learn from that first $5,000 project that carried on to the next 2 or 3 or future ones?
Everything.
Get more experienced cast and crew.
Yeah, I mean,
instead of your friends.
That's tough to do in a $5,000 budget. Everyone wants to be paid nowadays, so you'll get some upstart people who will work for free, but the experience level will, for the most part, be in line with what
Don't get me wrong,
what they're demanding.
We had a great cast and crew for the first movie, but it was. I was also inexperienced a little bit. Even though I made like shorts, it was like my first feature, so it was. Everyone was learning. And every movie's kind of a learning experience,
right?
And now I feel like I really know what I need to do to make a great quality film, and having a great cast and a crew that knows what they're doing is like the most important thing, I think. So,
right, and creating a horror movie. Are there, say, a top 3 list of elements that you must, like important elements that you have to pay attention to, that may be specifically related to the horror genre as opposed to, say, comedy or drama?
Do good practical.
Okay, so you went
effects.
Practical.
Yes.
You threw blood on people.
Yes.
You cut off fake heads.
Yes.
You crushed.
Yeah, we had like this torso that we could basically put a shirt on and like stab, and so I really wanted to see that.
What was the torso's name?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You didn't name it?
Maybe.
No,
I think it might have had a name, but it was our special effects guys, Michael Scordello, on Pretty Fine Things, and Nelson. They did the effects for that, and so.
You used ballistic gel and all that?
But I wanted to really show the impact, because like they always cut away, and I hate that. So
you want to see the knife tip going into flesh.
Yeah.
You want to see that blood coming out.
Oh yeah.
The aorta being severed or whatever.
And the blood is great because we have stage blood that actually is made of soap, so it comes out of everything. So if you can get it anywhere, like if you get it on something, it's okay. We'll just take some water and it comes out. And that's important when you're filming in somebody's house or business. We had some really great locations. We were really lucky the last time. So, and Kristen's in all of them, right?
I am.
We're detectives actually in Pretty Fine Things.
How many times have you died?
How many times
on screen?
Ooh, do you want me to say?
Give a ballpark.
Once.
Well, it's once, but
only once.
Well, I told him as a rule, if I'm going to be in any of your movies, I do not want to die. But
that means you can't come back.
The one time I do, it's cool the way it happened. So I was okay with it. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to give away too much because it's in the new movie. Well, now you know.
Do you get eaten by a shark?
No, that would have been really cool though. Now that you say that.
How about a crocodile?
And it's been just great experiences, like all around, and like to work with people. Like we really did have a talented cast and crew in this last movie, so I was really lucky.
I think it's hard to scare people though, especially in this day and age with so much, the level of gratuitous.
It's kind of like overkill.
Sure,
everybody's desensitized.
We went from more psychological. Well, I guess we started from maybe the Universal monster movies, which are very slow paced,
and subjective.
Maybe not that scary. And
well, they don't really get to be like that mind, thriller until Hitchcock comes along.
Sure, you got things like Psycho, and then
Rear Window and Vertigo and all that. The suspense,
slow
thriller.
building, psychological thrills. Then we went to the Jasons and Freddys, where there was slashers.
Well, that first Jason movie is like one of my favorites. I actually remember going the movies and seeing that. I thought that was like one of the best.
And then we get to the Saws, where in the hostels.
See, I don't watch that stuff.
Really?
Yeah,
it's torture.
Saw's great.
It's too real life.
true.
My first 3 movies were slashers, and then I went more psychological. 'Cause
Okay.
I think it's scary. I think it's
It's always like,
scary.
you know, like The Thing is great because you really don't see the monster until like 2/3 of the way in, really. And that's the sort of stuff I love, where it's like, you know, the creature's there, but it's around the corner. Alien, kind of like the same way, the original Alien.
Sure.
It's just like, you know, what is that noise, you know?
Yeah.
And then when it comes, it's so overwhelming and beyond what you're expecting that there is sheer terror. And I agree that it's hard to capture that now because we're all like, you know, we watch we watch TV, and if you don't turn it quick enough, you see kids blown up. It's just crazy, the shit they show on cable TV.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we're desensitized.
So is that a challenge?
Oh, yeah.
Since
Right?
society's so desensitized now?
I think that's why it's better to go psychological and kind of do a story, like create a story that can really happen to somebody.
Right.
I think that's
That implied horror as
Yeah.
opposed to the subjective, the monster coming at you at
Yeah.
like, you know,
when
2
you go-
miles an hour.
when you go
I mean, Frankenstein
supernatural.
is coming at you. What do? You run away.
Yeah.
It's like he's going to walk. He can't fucking run.
Yeah.
He's walking.
That's why I think Nightmare on Elm Street's awesome because you can't escape him.
Right.
No.
You got to go to sleep.
Yeah,
go to
you can't.
Yeah.
You
It's
can't.
great.
There's no way to get around him.
That still scares me.
Yeah, I think that, you know,
Yeah.
for villains in horror characters, he's got to be up near the top.
Oh, yeah.
And for writing movies, certainly the first 3. But then when you get into like 5 or 6, or I don't know how many have they made? 8?
I think that'd be like 8, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they have the crossover ones too.
Right.
Freddy versus
Right.
Jason.
But, you know,
Yeah.
we got to work with Robert Englund. He came on Comic Book Man.
did.
Ming did a couple scenes with him. One of the literal nicest people you ever meet, soft-spoken. It's always amazing. And he turns himself on. He walked in the store and was like, ah!
Yeah.
But, you know, before that, he's drinking green tea and chilling out. It's
Yeah.
just so crazy
Yeah,
that
well,
people
that's
could do
him,
that.
and I don't, you know, I don't know much about the history of the making of that movie. I don't know how much input Wes Craven had, but I think a majority of it has to be Robert Englund.
I think so. You know, how you can tell is, you know, he's really Freddy. And then you look at Jason, obviously you're behind a mask, but they change Jason every 2 movies. How many Jasons are there? 10?
There's a lot.
You know, Michael Myers, there's like 8. You know,
Sure,
who played the original Michael Myers?
Nick Castle and Tony Moran.
Yeah, 2 people, right, playing one character.
2 people.
Yeah, it
but
took
but if
2
you
of them.
but if you ask an average person, a good horror person, they probably wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Right. But Robert Englund played him in pretty much
Yeah.
every one except for the Jackie Earl Haley one.
Yeah.
Played him in the TV series.
Now
Like,
they're
he is-
remaking Nightmare, correct?
They already did. They did how long ago was it?
That was about 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago. I lost track of time.
And that was Rob Zombie did that.
No. But Jackie Earl Haley played Freddy Krueger.
You just can't. You can't.
And it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't the same. You know, like what? Yeah.
It's because you see his face, and Robert Englund just becomes.
Yeah,
Freddy.
I mean, he's got makeup and applications on, but you can still see Robert Englund.
It's all in the performance, my
Right,
friends.
right.
Yeah.
All in the
Everyone else has
performance.
a mask, like you were saying. And I met him too a couple times, and he is really a strong
Right.
believer in independent films
Right.
too, which is really great.
Which is why we thought we could get him. But, you know, when you talk to these big stars, and he's like arguably in horror,
Oh, icon.
he may be like the biggest star.
One day we'll have him.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So we're
Do you-
working towards that.
Yeah, is he on the like? Do you have a top 3?
Oh,
that
yeah.
you have
I
in-
think he's at the top right
Yeah.
now. Yeah. And
Wow.
we're so like, you know, elbow to elbow, you know, touching him and talking to him and all this
We
shit's
tou-
going on.
Don't touch him, Rob. That's not
I
acceptable
think John
anymore.
Carpenter too is at the top.
John
of the-
Carpenter for sure.
Does Carpenter go to conventions?
He used to.
He will. You have to
He's
offer
doing a
him.
musical tour now.
Do a sacrificial lamb.
Okay, so I know a lot of these guys have outside projects, and you know, if you can let them present.
Well, that's the thing about
Things like
conventions
that.
anyway. And you know, you travel a lot.
Sure.
Your schedule is probably booked 42 weeks out of the year, if not 50.
Something like that.
So I mean, if somebody calls up and hey, can Ming come to XYZ Con in Toledo, Ohio? You may already be booked, and we run into a lot of that.
Sure.
A lot of people are busy. You'd be surprised because a lot of people are retired actors, and they still go to conventions every other week. You know,
Well, that's
we-
all they do, some of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Period,
that's-
yeah.
I mean, sure.
They truly do. A lot of them truly like to meet their fans, and
Oh, yeah.
like you do. And that's what I think. That's what I like. Guests that are nice and want it and have that
Right, have a
behind
fan
them.
base. You don't need to be the biggest star. You could have been in Children Under the Stairs or People of the Fields or one of those movies. But, you've got to follow it.
Yeah. All right, we talked about the mainstream. Do you have any good obscure horror movies that maybe not everyone has seen that is up on your favorites list? That,
Favorites list.
something that, I haven't seen a lot. I've seen
I
the main
have
ones.
one of my favorite sci-fi movies.
But is there one that say it's like, oh my God, Ming, you haven't seen this? Like everyone
You've seen this, but I really love Buckaroo Banzai, Across the Ninth Dimension. But that's
Is that a horror movie?
It has horror aspects.
Okay.
I mean, certainly the villainous characters are kind of horrible looking. But, horror, straight up horror. You got one?
There's a really good director in Texas called Billy Ponton, his name is.
Yeah.
And he's done Circus of the Dead, which is a great movie, and Dollboy. Those two are really great films. I think Circus
Is
of the
Dollboy
Dead
about like a miniature?
came out last year.
Kind of like Doll Man, or Dr.
There's a
Cyclops?
guy in a mask, and he just kidnaps these people and puts them in this warehouse and hunts them down.
Really? Sounds like fun.
Whoa.
It's a short. I think it's a short. Actually.
Okay.
But it's
All right, Dollboy. I'll write that one down. That's spelled like it sounds.
He wears like a baby mask.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen
Yeah.
photos of that. Yeah,
That's creepy.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. There's a bunch that were great in our film festival as part of the convention too that
yeah.
we've seen.
Sodomaniac,
Yeah,
Great movie.
Tony Goggles.
Tony Goggles.
The one that you showed me, was it the troll? Something with
Yeah,
the troll.
Don't Feed the Troll.
Oh my
Great
gosh,
movie.
that was great.
Okay,
Yeah.
not to be confused with Troll 2.
No,
Which is
one
an
of the-
amazing movie. That's the one where the room turns into the forest.
I've never
Inside the
seen it.
house?
I just heard it was one of the worst
Some of that
movies ever
stuff's
made.
great. It's like Ghoulies, right?
Yeah.
Ghoulies 3.
This is more like psychological in a way, but there is
Yeah.
a troll in it. But it's a short, and it was made in New York, and it won a bunch of awards
did.
at our first show. It was really great.
Yeah, look that up if
Yeah.
you haven't seen it.
And that's one thing we're really into is we do a big awards ceremony.
Well, I know it's first of all, you go to a horror convention. It's just horror. You get to meet
Right.
the actors and some of the filmmakers, but they never show the movies.
Right.
You guys
Well, that was a whole-
incorporated a film festival.
100%.
element.
You really cannot have a horror convention without a film aspect, whether you're just showing random movies or you're running a film festival like we are. We ran, 45 films?
Yeah, we have
Shorts
over
and longs.
200 to 300 submissions every time.
Yeah,
too.
it's crazy.
Yeah. So is this a process anybody can submit
Yes.
a horror movie to? What's the criteria?
Well,
It's got to be a movie.
it's got to be a movie.
Well, I
yeah.
mean,
short film and feature length
Okay.
films.
Yeah. I mean, really, there is no criteria that you can't submit it. Obviously, if it's a comedy, it makes no sense.
Okay.
Maybe if it's a horror comedy, it makes sense, or horror dramedy, horror drama comedy.
We've taken music videos too before, horror music videos with. There was a really good one last time. I forget exactly. what it
I'm
was.
so busy. I normally don't get to go and see everything. I
But
do
Tony
it-
Goggles runs our film festival.
Is that
He's
something you
great-
could submit on New Jersey Horror, NewJerseyHorrorCon.com?
Yeah.
There's a gateway into a film freeway. And,
Yep, filmfreeway.com.
Submission's very low. It's like $25.
Yeah, it's very low. We keep it really low. I watch all the films as well as Tony, and we have a couple other judges.
And if you win, you actually get a banging freaking trophy.
yeah.
Oh,
They-
so it's kind of you have prizes then,
Oh, well, the trophies like
or trophies.
I mean,
there's an award.
it's a handmade trophy.
well, the New Jersey Dripping Blood, New Jersey big statue we have.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's
Your
a smaller
logo,
version
yes.
of that. So it's a version of our logo.
It's made by Chris Waters too.
Chris Waters,
up in Boston.
the
Yeah.
artist.
What are there categories?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. We have I think there's about 10 to 12 categories.
Okay.
And then we usually give 2 or 3 to our invited guests. Different. What did we give? The Avenger Award went to
Lloyd.
Crispin. Oh, love it.
Lloyd and Crispin.
Crispin. And then what did Marky get?
The Punk Rock Award.
Yeah, Punk Rock
That's
Award.
cool.
The Icon Award was Barry Boswick and John Waters.
John Waters got one. Yeah. So they're usually painted different colors, but they're very coveted. There's a couple on eBay right now.
Didn't somebody say they put their award next to their Grammy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Marky
right.
put it next to his Grammy,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
Barry Boswick put it next to his Golden Globe.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Wow.
Good company.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
I
very
mean,
large. They're a little
They're
bit
actually
bigger.
much larger than the Golden Globe because the Golden Globe's tiny. I was really surprised. It's not very large.
Yeah. They're very cool looking, and I think it's, when I had this idea to with the film festival, I wanted, like, as a filmmaker, I want like this awesome award.
Right.
That
Sure.
If I win something.
Yeah.
And Horror Hound also gives out amazing awards.
Right.
So it's a matter of like creating an icon within the whole convention and film festival, and people are like, we'll talk about it because we're talking about it.
Yeah. I think it's they deserve something for their effort. Even if you just finish a film, it's tough to do.
Right. But you say you screen all the films, so you screen.
We have a committee.
Mm-hmm. I watch all of them though.
I guess you threw 2 shows last year. They were spaced about 6 months apart. Between that time, you went through 300 shorts and features.
Yeah.
Well, about 400, but a lot of them are shorts. There's a lot of shorts.
Sure, but a short can seem very long if it's
sometimes.
not that great.
Not necessarily. There's a great horror movie called Godzilla Meets Bambi.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I've never seen that one.
It's 20 seconds long. Google that.
I'm not familiar with that.
Google it.
Tony
It's out
Goggles
there.
is our film festival director, and he really also watches a lot of the films too.
Right.
And he has a huge hand in the film festival because he's also a director as well, and a filmmaker.
Yeah.
So we have actual filmmakers and people in the industry judging and making sure the movies are.
And
are good.
when we started the convention, we didn't go like, "Oh, we need X amount of people to work with us." It's kind of like we said, "All right, we're going to do this HorrorCon," and all our friends, who a lot of them are very professional, most of them are very professional, stepped up and said, "Oh, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do?" So our core group of 8 to 10 of us are all like interconnected.
Yeah, that's because some people took the initiative and just jumped in.
Vendor coordinators and
takes a village.
guest aficionados.
Yeah, but all banded together through the mutual love of horror.
Yeah, yeah, and just trying to produce something. We're trying to do something different for the New Jersey, New York, tri-state, and beyond horror community. I mean, there's a lot of conventions in the state. Some of them are really old.
Right. What separates yours?
Well, I think the film festival, really, and our interaction with people in general. We tend not to be aloof, if that's the right term. You go to some of these conventions and they're very stodgy, and they tell you can do this and not do that. We've also always supported the horror community. So at one point or another, we've guested or been vendors at some of these conventions, and they sort of shut the door on us after we came up with this concept. Because I think they thought we were going to take away from their draw, but in reality, we're months away from the other conventions, and it's New Jersey and New York. There's freaking 25 million people in a 100-mile radius.
Sure.
So if we can do like 0.5% that's 5,000 people through the door. We're happy.
I like when everyone works together.
Yeah.
And we can make it a great horror community if everyone
and I agree.
does that.
Yeah, and I think you got to work with like-minded conventions. We do a lot of work with Garden State Comic Fest and New Jersey Comic Expo and some of the smaller conventions, and it's all about helping each other out. And pop culture in general is an expanding universe, just like the shared universe that we're at, which is sponsored by Blue Juice Comics. If you get a chance, pick up your local Blue Juice comic book at
and Trenton Punk Rock Flea Market.
And Trenton Punk Rock Flea Market.
They've been a big supporter of us, as well as you guys too. With the comic book man.
Comic book man, yeah.
And we were in it. We were in the horror scene, and we were making films. Rob's, doing.
Yeah,
the
I went to the
scene.
very first Chiller theater show that they ever had when it was still in the Rutherford Movie Theater back in '86, '87.
Wow.
I've known Kevin, who owns Chiller, from before he started the convention. Because we used to do the old Newark toy conventions, Kennedy Airport convention. They would fly people in from Germany to set up at shows.
Sure.
It's just crazy. The world, everybody thinks that conventions are new, but the reality, I dated the first convention in 1926, which was a science fiction convention and featured Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and, and a couple other notaries of the time.
And with Chiller too, they've shown all my films there.
Right.
Kevin is a
we
great person.
really kind of met at Chiller, I think.
I think so. Yeah. And I was also in Rob's son's movie, horror movie.
And we're in Merry Horror. No, the last one.
Witch's Blood. Yeah.
Witch's Blood, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we all are kind of connected, and we're just kind of we are fans of horror.
Right.
And
it's kind of like I met Tony
scene.
Goggles, who is critical in our production of our event. At one of the showings of his movie, Sodomaniac in like Trenton like 5 years ago at some armory, which was just like one of the best shows I'd ever been to, because it's like, wow, they rented an armory, they put chairs in it, and they're showing a horror movie. It's just like, this is how it should be done.
We're just kind of fans of what the genre. So that's, and we're fans putting on a show
you've
with experience.
Taken your collective experiences, channeled it into this. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who love horror like a lot, but not all of them are like, I'm going to throw a convention and release it out to the masses and take on, say, financial responsibility and book guests. It's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
You're telling
It's
me.
a lot of work. It's a lot of work
every day.
I give it up to Ryan. He has the opportunity. He works in a facility that allows him to get away with a lot of things. I'm not going to mention who. It's true, too, right? Am I right or am I
What
wrong?
are you doing?
He's taking photos.
Taking pictures.
Look,
taking
I
pictures.
changed my cover.
Yeah, I mean the.
I'm just gonna do a video.
What
It's an everyday thing,
Ryan?
really.
What's harder, filmmaking or producing a Comic-Con?
I think producing a Comic-Con, convention, HorrorCon.
Or a horror con or a convention.
But if you can do a movie, you can create a convention.
How so?
Yeah, it's
Well, it's
very
all
similar.
about production. I mean, really, when it boils
Okay.
down to it, it's you've got 25 moving parts. Maybe in a movie you have 15 moving parts.
Yeah.
You got to remember to get the right food for the green room. It's the weird little shit.
It's like you're the director of
Right.
a film, and
Exactly.
then you're doing a convention where you have your cast and your crew, and it's basically the same thing. So I feel like filmmaking has prepared me to do a convention, and I'm
But
still
it's that
making
weird
films.
little things that you don't remember when you're doing a movie. You remember those things. You know you have to bring a certain, camera block or whatever it is.
And it's 3 days of madness for us.
Sure.
It
And
truly
six
is.
months, yeah. Although the last one went a lot smoother, but we're
Yeah.
starting
Well,
to really
you
know
learn,
what we're
though.
doing, and it was always egos. It boils down.
They've
to
all
egos.
really ran pretty smoothly. I
true.
think
It is true.
for a first time show,
Yeah.
we really have grown.
Oh yeah.
Like we
Phenomenal.
doubled our
Yeah.
the attendees, and we are just moving right along, and we're really excited what it's going to become.
But as a group, we try very hard to give the audience what they want, give our guests what they want, give the vendors what they want. So it's a lot of giving, and you got to, like, we had a situation where somebody broke into one of our vendors' booths overnight Saturday.
Tell the story real
And
quick.
Stole,
it's an
stole a
interesting
number
story.
of items. Lloyd Kaufman, Trauma Films. We made a technical mistake, and we were kind of pushed out of one room and had to have our after party in another, and it caused like some security issues. So those security issues were breached. And we live in 2017, so everything's on camera. So these guys decided to steal some things, a mask, which is real important because they use a mask every week, skateboards, but they're drunk and they're walking out of the building, literally walking out on
In
camera.
a society where there's security cameras everywhere, especially a
like
hotel.
you can't take a piss outside without getting a ticket.
Sure.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, come on,
Lady
Rob.
in the room.
Come on, Rob. There are females in the room.
I know. I'm sorry about that. But, long and the short of it
dare
is,
you.
as a group, as a community, as a, like-minded, caring individuals, we got right on top of it. We posted pictures.
Yeah, they were caught right away.
Our vendor coordinator, Melissa, did an incredible job to the point where she got kicked off of Facebook for like 2 days for breaching like a half a dozen of their rules. But
and
we
also
caught
John
him.
Brightman.
John Brightman.
Who's, an
we not only we
agent.
caught him, we got him to like where they lived in Rhode Island, their phone numbers, like calling him at 2
their
a.m.
Credit cards.
Yeah, it's just like
John Brightman went to pick up the stuff
Right.
at their house and got it back.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
everything got back to Lloyd, and there was, afterwards there's no harm done, but it tells like these guys are friggin' douchebags.
I think the guy was named Chris McGibbon. McGibbon is the one who identified the two.
The perpetrator.
But literally, they
Perps.
put the photos up on Facebook, and I think in the course of maybe 6 hours, would be,
Yeah.
oh,
They're
I know those
identified.
guys. They know so-and-so. Oh,
Sure.
I think they live in Rhode Island. Oh, they go to Rhode Island Comic-Con, not to lambast Rhode Island Comic-Con. They're just strangers walking through the door. But all these things happened.
Yeah, I think it was 2 days.
Yeah.
It was. We already had it back.
It was crazy.
And then they did a video at Rock and Shock where they Toxie got his stuff back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They okay.
And Melissa went up
Right,
there.
right.
Or
our
all's
vendor
well that
partner.
ends
And,
well.
we
Yeah.
Everybody.
promoted Rocket Shock.
I think Tiffany Sheps was there too. She was
one of your alumni guests.
Yeah.
One,
she was
one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So you just never know. I mean, that's how the community is really shaped up, and that's how we feel. And we're just trying to promote the horror genre, on its best footing in New Jersey, tri-state area, New York, Connecticut, and beyond.
Having a good time too. Right. It's about having a good time. People coming in and having
and teaching
a fun
people
time.
about independent film and horror.
Yeah.
And how it anybody can make movies. You got to have the right idea. You got to have the right equipment. You have to have some talent, but anybody can make movies.
Especially these days with the technology.
Yeah, for sure. As a con promoter, were you able to bring a lot of people that you admire from
Of course.
From the movies that you've watched? Is there anyone that you've brought in that anyone specific that you brought in that you flipped out over? And anybody who surprised you, anybody who was awesome.
Well, I previously mentioned Tracy Lords.
Sure.
And you know what? I'll mention her again.
I'm a huge Rocky Horror fan, so when Barry Boswick came in this last September, I fangirled. I did.
He was a great guest too. I've never seen somebody stay at their table to meet
God,
everybody as long as him.
Where's Sean Astin? Sean, where are you?
It was really cool to have Sean Astin and Kerry Green together because Kerry Green also has never done a show. And that was like a big thing for us.
And she did phenomenally well. Yeah. Like unbelievable.
She loved it. She loved it. And I think she put her trust in us to have her first show be.
And how tall is she? 5'2"?
She's very, very short. Yeah.
Tiny.
Yeah. So, but she was she's super great and nice, and so she was.
Yeah, Kerry Green played Andy in the Goonies.
In the Goonies, yeah.
Andy!
And Summer Rental, and there's a couple other movies she made, but she hasn't been at a convention or even done an interview, I don't think, in a long time.
And Ryan
wow,
did
how did you convince her to come?
Oh, just through email, and I was able to
How'd
contact
you
her.
track her down?
It took easy there.
It took some time.
It's called The White Pages.
Well, it's called producing.
It was actually pretty easy. So, but I just happened to find her contact information. I was able to talk to her, and she was very,
Yeah, Ryan. To give Ryan a lot of credit, he has figured it out. There's definitely a way of doing things that most people haven't figured out.
Okay, so I know there are a lot of conventions out there. A lot of conventions want unique guests, and she's definitely up there. And unique even as far as to tracking down people who've never done conventions or rarely do them.
Yeah.
And usually most people have a reason for not wanting to do. They just don't feel
I think
comfortable.
she was retired. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Retired with kids. I mean, a lot of that happens too.
Sure.
A lot of times you say, "Well, where is so and so?" And it's not like their career is over. It's just that they've
moved on.
$5 million, and they figured out they can have kids and live in the country and
be happy.
I think she understood that what we were trying to do too. Like it wasn't about a money grab or anything like that, and she knew that we were, about the film making part of it.
Yes. Okay. Good.
So I think she's an artist as well. She paints and draws, and they're actually really great. And I've seen some of them. She showed me some. From her web, she has a website too that has.
What's her website?
Art.
KerryGreen.com.
You gotta look it up.
Let's just say yes.
But yeah, so
you can use Google, everybody.
So yeah, she was great, and having John Waters be our first major guest.
That's pretty
was
big.
Huge.
Yeah,
really amazing.
And he was nothing but a gentleman.
Yeah,
and he
had some
best.
weird idiosyncrasies. The best was he needed to walk in unseen.
Oh, so yeah. Well, he's a showman, my friend.
We took the pipe and drape.
You don't. Yeah, you made
off
a path.
the floor.
I was there.
And we made a little
I thought that's great, though.
God bless him. And he walked in and
it
hit Jacob's multicolored coat on.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
You and Eric selling from the elevator to the room.
It kills the magic if you just see the guy taking a piss in the bathroom before he comes out for his big.
You go and you look at these writers and go, "Oh, it makes perfect sense."
It's all about the entrance.
But Crispin, God bless Crispin,
Yeah, Crispin was great too. He had a certain way of doing things.
Sure.
Crispin Glover.
We rebuilt the screen 5 times.
Yeah, well,
it was
he
important.
was the best
but it was
presentation
perfect.
possible.
He loved it by the end. He had a great time.
Yeah, and again, that's a guy who doesn't do a lot of shows.
No.
I can't remember the last time.
And oddly enough,
he did any kind of con.
His coming to our convention, he ended up taking a car into New York City and doing an audition on Sunday night, right?
I think he was filming a movie, actually.
And then got picked up for a movie and shot a movie that he probably wouldn't have done if he hadn't come to New Jersey Comic Con.
Right, for sure.
.com,
For
New Jersey
sure.
Comic Con.
I think he also understood
Festival.
the independent filmmaking side of it and really understood that what we were trying to do there, and because he's making these independent films on his own. And actually, the third one looks really great. The one that he's coming.
Plus, he produces books. The books he makes are incredible.
Oh yeah, and he had
the
people
history
there.
of rat catching.
5 a.m. was the
Google that.
last person left.
5 a.m.
Yeah. Well,
He
he,
was-
did have a little restrictions.
Oh, yeah.
You could only come in one at a time.
Yeah. Well, he likes the time with the.
It's 10 to
the
Yeah,
guests.
yeah. I got to spend about 5 minutes with him, and it was
Speaking of
pretty,
time,
Very
How we
gracious guy.
it was pretty good. Well, we have a few minutes left.
Okay.
I didn't know if there's anything else.
I just
If you
wanna
had a
say
list
that,
of anything that you wanted to get out on the Evildoers Beware podcast.
Oh, we have a guest announcement.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta do
Okay.
that.
All right. Coming
roll.
up.
Okay, we have two. We're gonna
Okay.
do two.
What are the dates again? March.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay. Where?
It's at the Woodbridge Renaissance on Route 1 in Islin, New Jersey.
Okay,
right
and the
across the street.
515 US 1, Islin, New Jersey.
515. Right across the street from Woodbridge Mall.
Okay. Website again?
Yes.
It's NewJerseyHorrorCon.com.
Okay. You guys are also on Facebook, Twitter,
and
everything.
NJHorrorCon.com. You can find me on everything as pop cultureism or just Google Rob Bruce.
All right.
Oh,
and who do
wow.
we have coming?
Okay, so we have
Nice plug.
John Dugan, who played Grandpa in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The Jayster
The original.
Dugan.
The original, and a few other ones he played.
Right.
And then we have another Texas Chainsaw Massacre guest, which is really great. And it's a rare appearance, actually. Terry McMinn, her name is.
No way!
And she was the one of the main girls in the first film.
She's
Yeah.
not the one on the hook, is she?
She is the one on the hook.
She was my girlfriend.
Bring your posters.
So both of them. So we're gonna have basically a Texas Chainsaw series reunion. We have
Wow.
because we have Caroline Williams.
Yeah, so that's
already.
one of our big reunions just announced here at the beautiful.
Shared Universe Podcast
Shared
Studios.
Universe podcast.
Don't worry, we'll have.
No, I
some-
think those
Shared
two,
Universe Podcast brought to you
Those-
sponsored by Blue Juice
Well,
Comics.
those
More
two guests
branding
have
in
to
here.
be announced together. I think. And
too.
Yeah, for sure.
They're from
Yeah.
the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's really cool to have them.
Where's Toby
attending.
Hooper? Is he still alive?
He is not, and Gunnar Hansen is also has
Ah.
passed. But John Dugan as Grandpa,
Yeah.
is a classic
Right.
character, and we're happy to have him. And I think they fit right into the mold
Oh, yeah,
of
for
everybody
sure.
else that's coming. And we have a bunch more announcements coming up. We're still working on some confirmations, but I think it's going to be great. We're really excited with
I'm
the next
excited.
show. This is more of like a villain theme, I think, we have going here.
I like
for this
it.
Next
I like
Villainy.
it. Well, I mean, the villains have the most personality. The villains have the
True.
most fun.
the
so-
evildoers.
Yes.
There it is.
Before we go, do you take guest requests? Have
Yes.
people come in and chimed in on Facebook and say, "Hey,
Oh yes,
I'd love to see."
And that is the best place to chime in is on Facebook,
Okay.
on the New Jersey HorrorCon site on Facebook. Please
believe
do not
somebody-
email me.
I think somebody last week posted about 25 different names on
Okay.
our
Wow.
page. I get emails all the time, njhorrorcon@gmail.com.
Okay.
Can we mention the other thing that happened last week?
Uh,
No, no credit to them.
So
No?
yeah, so anybody can really anybody loves to request their favorite actor or actress, and we try our best to get everybody we can. So we definitely take them seriously as long as they are in our reach.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, if Johnny Depp, we get Johnny Depp a lot. He's
Yeah,
not coming.
Yeah, probably not.
He
Johnny
might show
Depp's
up.
got
You
other
never know.
problems right now.
Maybe one day,
One day.
Yeah, you never know.
but not the first, not in the third show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you don't ask,
That's
the
true.
answer's always no.
And
All
if
right.
Johnny, if you're out there and you want to show up, you're more than welcome.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys always asking, Chiller to get this person
Sure,
and that person. So I understand where they're coming from. So I always try to make it work with our show. And if
Yeah.
not this show, the next one. And
Right.
we do about 23 to 33 guests each show. So
Cool. All right.
yeah.
All right. Thanks, man. Well, this is the
Yeah.
inaugural
Yeah.
episode. Future
Yeah.
episodes. We'll talk about updates on the convention. Obviously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would love to
Talk
talk
more
about
horror.
your favorite movies,
Pop culture in
horror.
general.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Evildoers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm real excited for we're not back on beforehand. The new Star Wars movie's coming out
Sure.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
mean,
I've been reading about it, and I have a funny feeling we're going to see something really special.
Okay.
Ooh.
Let's hope.
All right. Fantastic. And there's always news in the horror world.
I'm excited for the new Halloween movie that they're supposedly making.
Yes.
With Danny McBride.
Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yeah.
She's coming back.
And Danny McBride is writing it.
And there's a new Jurassic Park apparently coming down the pike. Did you see that? You see the trailer for that?
I have not.
Yeah,
but what's it called? The
Jurassic Park. Shit, I don't know.
Okay.
Somebody look that up for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure they go to the Evildoers Beware Facebook page.
Yeah, like that.
We have over 100 likes already.
Wow, 100 likes.
And one in less than 24 hours.
I think 3 of them are my mother.
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Same people in it?
Yes,
I
right?
don't know.
Chris
That
Pratt. I think Chris Pratt's
that
in it.
I can't
Yeah.
tell you.
He's in the trailer.
You need
Ron
Pratt
Howard's daughter.
Bryce Dallas
Oh,
Howard.
yeah, she should be in it.
Well, I mean, she's in now. She can't get out now. Will she be running around in heels?
I don't know.
Let's
She
hope
always
so.
looks different to me in all her
Stay-
different movies. She's
called-
going to like change herself.
Yeah, it's
really
called
cool.
It's
versatile.
amazing that families as talented.
Versatile
as they are.
acting,
Yeah.
my friends.
Tell you what,
We should get Clint Howard one.
we
time.
should get Clint Howard.
I love it.
I
Wow.
come see him.
You'd come see him.
Thank you, Ming,
All right.
for having us here.
course.
Yeah, yeah. Of course.
And making my first podcast.
And I have to admit, this is one of the most beautiful podcast studios I've ever been in.
Again, available to anybody who wants to come down. Just-
Kristen, want to say anything?
Thank you, Ming.
Of course. No, thank you. And I'm Ming Chen.
I'm Ryan Scott Weber.
Kristen Accardi.
I'm confused. No, Rob Bruce.
Do you have a sign off? Do you have a scary sign off?
Evildoers Beware.
Rob.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Evildoers beware.